Good morning, everybody. It's like, what is it, the 5th of June, 2023. And yesterday I was at the beer festival. Quite of a long video. I did talk a lot about news, but took a long time to download the video. It's kind of like, anyway. I don't know if a lot of you like the travel videos, which is sort of what that is. It's more of an event, but it's in a different country probably than what you are in. So in a sense, it is a travel video. But maybe a lot of people don't like mixing travel videos with news videos. So I guess that's why Alex Cristoforo just kind of talks news and just shows you around a little bit. Maybe I should be doing something similar. I don't know. Maybe I should have a travel side and have a news side. I don't know. Maybe you, some of you out there can make a comment and let me know what's best. But today, mostly what I want to talk about, and I hope you can hear me. I'm right by a very busy road in the area that I live in, as you see. Out here. And over here, as you see, it's a park. On this side, I don't know. I wouldn't. Well, I guess it's actually quite a large park. It goes for, who knows, maybe 100, 200 meters at least down that way, and maybe various sizes in depth. And there's buildings up there, some business buildings. Everything's kind of peaceful. As a matter of fact, well, I don't know. I don't really want to walk in there. When the light is bad, the video becomes kind of grainy. So it's better if I stay in the light. Go to the light, go to the light. But mostly I'm just, what I was going to say is I want to talk about excellent video by Andrei Martyanov. And of course I'll add a few other little things as well, maybe a little bit of my opinion. But his video, it was called, where is it? On the front page. It's called Panic Sets In. And he's all the information is just excellent. It's all accurate and it's all verifiable. I mean, anybody who's been following this conflict in Ukraine, you all know that it's accurate. But you'd have to see it to know what I'm talking about. What he's talking about, and what so many other people are talking about, is that the West has lost this war in Ukraine. And that's pretty undeniable. And when you hear what he has to say, it's like it's just a different take. His take is a little bit different, explaining why they lost the war. If it's a war, the conflict, special military operation. Actually, it was an attack by them. It was a provocation. And of course, they were attacking all this time since 2014. And of course, the news, in the West, never wanted to mention anything about it. And all these politicians, they know what's going on. All complicit in this. I'll tell you what, some people call these politicians like lickspittle. These are very disgusting people. Disgusting people, they go along with all of this. Watching people die, innocent people die, but then when you have a certain ethnicity, I guess, maybe they don't even call them people. Or they have a different status or something, especially if you're Russian. You remember the old days when it used to be that they were against Jews? And as I say, the Russians are the new Jews. And then you got Zelensky going all around the world trying to get everybody to join in and give him money, houses, properties. And I mentioned it in one video, but it is so accurate. It's from Alex Cristoforo, I believe, that the truth, when Lindsey Graham had gone to visit Zelensky, he put out publicly, that, oh, Russia's going to have to watch out. Oh boy. Let me go over here and get away from this noise. But oh, Russia's going to have to watch out. It's like there's some sort of big surprise coming from Ukraine. And Alex Christoforo was mentioning, no, what he really said, he said, you better get on with this offensive. And apparently that's exactly what happened. I think I mentioned that, was it probably just yesterday? And it becomes very obvious that that's exactly what happened, because you see lately that Zelensky's coming out and stating, we don't have enough weapons, but we're going to do this offensive. Lots of Ukrainians are going to die. And that's very sick in and of itself too, you know. And I don't really think, and I'm sure that most of you also don't think, Zelensky or most any of these politicians, they don't really care about anybody's lives. They don't even care about the lives of their own people. You know, like in the words of old Annalena Baerbock, she doesn't care what the German voters think. She's for Ukraine. I don't know, but she's not for Ukrainian people. And she may as well have just said, I'm for Project Ukraine. And what is Project Ukraine? Project Ukraine is the destruction of Russia. And that's the whole goal. And it's been a goal. It's actually been a twinkling in the eye of the collective West, the neocons and their buddies, the neoliberals, and their other buddies, the neo-nasties. You know, these people, you know, they all belong to they're all cut from the same cloth. And they're sitting there salivating at all the resources of Russia and their hatred. And the hatred is not, I don't know, I don't think it's really hatred. It's probably like, well, don't take this personal. We just want to take all your resources. We want to collapse you. We have no respect for your history, your traditions, your culture. We live in a beautiful garden, and you live out in the jungle. We're like the Africans that we also don't like, and like the Asians, like the Chinese. Oh, don't worry, they're next. Africans are not united, so, you know, in effect, we look at them as already kind of conquered. We conquered them long ago. We conquered the Chinese, but we have to reconquer them after you guys, after Russia. Anyway, he didn't say that, but that's my take on it. Actually, his justification, Andrei Martyanov's justification for saying that the West already lost, and it's a very good one, and it's very accurate. And I think you can probably find out what Alex Christoforo says, and Alexander Makuris, and Brian Berletic, and Larry Johnson, and Scott Ritter, and the list goes on, Jackson Hinkle. But anyway, Andrei Martyanov's justification that shows that they lost is that they are now conducting terrorist activities. It's sort of like, in my opinion, they're lashing out. It's a temper tantrum. You know. So now we're going to just start killing innocent Russians. You know, we can't beat the military, so we're just going to conduct terrorist activities and kill the civilians inside of Russia wherever we can. We're going to do drone strikes. And before I get too much farther, and I wrote here in my notes, I'm jumping ahead actually, but it's appropriate to say right now, because otherwise I might forget. As you know, I'm not reading the notes necessarily. I'm kind of going off the top of my head. You know, a lot of times things that occur to me, but what Andrei Martyanov said, just like I said in one video, and other vloggers, for some reason, they're not really mentioning that. I think it's because it was put out in Russian news, and of course, Andrei Martyanov, he gets this in Russian as well. But this incursion into Belgorod region, when the, you know, I'm mentioning it, I don't know, maybe the third time, but as they were advancing in, you know, and they had these American weapons, these people they were all in official military clothing, as you saw, NATO military clothing, with NATO, you know, their weapons and their uniforms and all the equipment. It was a U.S. equipment for the most part, mostly all U.S. Humvees and who knows what all. But it, as what happened was, you know, when they stopped that car and there was a lady and her husband in there, they executed the husband right in front of the wife, and you know, she was taken captive, I guess, maybe for a short time. Who knows for how long? I don't know. I didn't catch this. I didn't read the entire thing on what's happening and or what happened with this incursion with this lady. But this lady, she put out that, and she's smart enough to know that all these people, they were Polish and American. There weren't really Ukrainians, at least in that group. And there was at least 70 of them. And I think Russia annihilated 70 of them, and some of the rest of them, I guess, they escaped back into Ukrainian territory. You know, but NATO and the United States and Ukraine and Poland, they're against this stuff. They don't like these terrorist activities. You know, we believe that, yeah, you know, sure. And, but anyway, a lot of these people escaped back, but she said they were all talking in Polish and English, and it was an American English. So, and that was put out, but it's not really been put out in the West. And of course, not even a lot of the vloggers have been talking about that. Is very, very significant. And of course, they're going to say, oh, these are mercenaries. What about these, actually probably into the thousands of mercenaries from Poland, you know, that are engaged in all these military activities, such as Bukomet. Scott Ritter put out, and so many other people put out, that a lot of the radio chatter, it's all done in English and in Polish. And they don't really hear Ukrainians so much. So at least those controlling the radios, maybe the cannon fodder are the Ukrainians. Those in charge and running on the radio, for example, the non-commissioned officers, the NCOs and the officers, guess where they're all coming from if they're talking in English and in Polish. So you can kind of guess their nationalities. And you can't forget Great Britain. Andrea Martyanov said they're the biggest experts in terrorism, killing innocent people. You know, I'm not so sure about it, but I'm sure that Andrea Martyanov, he would not have said that unless he knows about this sort of thing. So, very intelligent guy, Andrea Martyanov. This is a very good source. You know, some people maybe have a little bit of trouble with his accent. I think maybe Russian people wouldn't, but very brilliant guy. You know, to me, Andrea Martyanov is one of the best ones. Sometimes he reaches subjects I'm not quite that interested in, but he always puts in a lot of good information. But that's why I really love that video, you know, that panic sets in. So, but what's going to be going on now is, I think it's what I suspect, as they're provoking Russia, just like they did with the entire start of this military operation. They provoked Russia into starting this. They were going to just like pushing the limits to see what they can get away with, see if they can take the Ukraine as they took all these other countries into NATO, and to see what they can just keep getting into and pushing the limits. And that's what they're doing all the time. They're doing that with China in Taiwan. You keep pushing it, and they think that maybe they're going to find a way out. But oftentimes, you know, what it's really going to end up in is some sort of military activity when they're provoking these nations so bad. And I think it's a very good chance that they're trying to provoke Russia into doing, you know, escalating this to an obvious extent, and maybe it justifies those countries to get on and to mobilize, their military industrial complex to build more factories or to take over certain industries, such as truck factories, and turn them into tank factories, things like that. That's what, of course, happens most of the time in war. Like that's what happens in the Soviet Union, or happened in the Soviet Union, and even in this area here, you know, where I'm living, is possibly, it could, if Belarus gets in and this thing really expands. I'm living right in the midst of tractor factories, and it can easily turn into tank factories, truck factories, can be, you know, APCs, armored personnel carriers. You know, it's nothing to turn trucks into that, you know. But things go on, and I'll make a little comment too, and also about the productive capacity of what's going on in Russia. I'll make that a little bit later. I wrote it in my notes here. I don't want to always be getting too far ahead of myself here. It's just a lot of this stuff, you know. And if this war ever does end, or conflict, I'll tell you what, it's will there be an official end, or just an appearance of ending? But you know, the West is not going to accept anything except the appearance of that they won. The United States, you know, it's a little bit like Donald Trump saying he created the greatest economy on earth and all that. And I don't want to pick on Trump too much. He's actually about the best that they have right now running in the United States. I like, Robert Kennedy Jr., of course, but I don't know what kind of a chance he's got, But unfortunately, Trump is the best that they have so far, and I don't agree with everything in Trump when he bombed, killed Soleimani and all those people. No trial, just kill some general, very, very high-ranking person in Iran. Not a great thing, but a lot of bragging and things like that. Anyway, but like what I'm saying is, a lot of people, they will accept nothing else but a win, or at least an appearance of winning, being successful. So that's how that is, but the United States, even after, like what I was going to say is, this war, it won't really end in a sense where all of a sudden everything stops. If you studied history, you know that after World War II, even though the Soviet Union was on the side of the West, supposedly, meaning Great Britain and France, the US was conducting activities within the Soviet Union, assassinations and sabotage, long after the war, at least 10 years afterwards. I think it was up until 1954. And that was, as I say, the adherents and the inheritors of the Bandera movement. So, and that's exactly the same ideology, and the descendants of that movement is what's going on in Ukraine, what started all this and what's escalated this. And a lot of people are now pissed off at Putin, and even in Russia, and they're talking about it, that he should have done this in 2014. He's and then they want to assassinate Putin, but he's far more moderate than what you're probably gonna have that might replace him if they actually do get rid of him. Then you're gonna see you're gonna see a real war then. But just hope that doesn't happen. So, but as far as from the result of a lot of these sanctions and all that, even Reuters, they reported that the employment in Russia has expanded more in the past year than it has for 20 years. And factory output is expanding more than ever. Remember when I said that I have contacts in the Urals, and I was saying that they were telling me about how much work there is there, and that a lot of these factories, a lot of them are weapons factories, of course, and they were just working 8-hour shifts, but now they're working around the clock. They're working 3 shifts. So much, a lot of this factory output is probably coming from the weapons manufacturing. And like I was saying, if it were me, and if Putin is a lot smarter, every time he's going to make 5, say, Kinzhal missiles, I would put one on the side for saving and not set it out. But they're not making that many Kinzhals, but any of the other ammunition, I would be saving, say, out of every 5, I would put 2 off to the side, because it looks like there's probably going to be some, or at least there's the potential of having really, really heavy conflict with the West. And Russia, for the most part, is trying to keep all the other countries out of this, and they're handling this alone. Of all these countries, and supposedly they're drained of all their weapons, and everybody's getting sick, because sick of Ukraine and their thirst and their lust for bombs. We need more bombs, we need more weapons, and all the West is saying they don't have any more. They certainly do, but a lot of this is maybe, for their own protection, in case they provoke Russia, in case they're successful in provoking Russia into some real heavy escalation. So, yeah. But yeah, working the double shifts, operating 24 hours. And this all while the factories are closing in Germany and the UK. Incredible, isn't it? Looks like the sanctions have really been effective, and then they're still wanting to come up with more. I guess they're gluttons for punishment. And like I said yesterday, there's a lot of people, they want deindustrialization, and they're really happy about this stuff. But Andrei Martynov, he said that they had miscalculated so badly that all they can do is just continue with the terrorist acts. Um, and he was, like I said, stating that Larry Johnson and Scott Ritter and so many of the others are doing it. So, in Martyanov's words, that the experts of this destruction and the raping and the killing are the British. So, and I remember in Syria, a terrible, terrible things that were happening there, and a lot of people were saying that they heard British accents. I'm sorry to say that for all my British viewers, and it looks like I do have some in Great Britain that watch this as well. That a lot of these atrocities are committed by British, and some of these things that I wouldn't even want to repeat, what they did with young Christian virgin girls, what the British, at least they heard British accents, what they did to some of these girls and things there in Syria, and had pictures of these girls, beautiful young girls, and of course they were dead afterwards. Another thing that Andrea Martyanov was talking about, and this is unrelated, is that in Ireland they are going to slaughter 200,000, I believe he said, dairy cows, 200,000, so that they can meet their climate change goals. Even at a time when there's becoming food shortages all over. And look at what they're doing in the Netherlands. They're not even, it's not even food. They're banning this fertilizer and doing everything to shut down farmers. It really makes you wonder what is going on. What is this? You would think that if they're about to start this major war with maybe even China, with Russia and China, that they're going to need healthy people, and they might even need healthy economies. And now they're doing all this stuff. I have no idea. I don't think anybody can figure out what the heck the West is up to. They're just crazy. They are just crazy. So that's mostly what I was all going to talk about today. So, and Alexander Makuras, I didn't see the video yet, but I was going to, and it looks like Russia is advancing in so many places. It's almost as if there is a big offensive going on right now from the Russians. I think it was Avdiivka and Marin, all kinds of areas, Kupiansk, and Russia is rapidly advancing in all of these places, and that on the eve of some great counter-offensive, and like I said, this saddest news is that Zelensky is saying that there's going to be a lot of Ukrainians dying. So very, very encouraging for people. And of course, as you know, they're not joining. They're being forced into being cannon fodder. Look at the West. Look at the West. Look at what they're going to. Look at how they care about life. It just makes you sick. But anyhow, one day I'll just make some video about how sickening all these people are and what they're doing to the entire world. But I'll just leave it at that, and maybe get censored from YouTube. They don't like this kind of this kind of news. I'll tell you what, Google, they have brilliant people there, and I don't think a lot of those people are warmongering types of people. And I think some of them are so brilliant that they really know what is going on. And for them to go along with all of this censorship and degradation of society, it's a very sad thing. And I hope that one day there's going to be something like YouTube, or maybe YouTube itself. Maybe they'll change course. Too bad Elon Musk couldn't have bought YouTube. Elon Musk is not perfect either. Things are not always going so great. He hired somebody from the World Economic Forum to be his CEO, which is very strange. I don't know. And I think he's already stepping in a few times to change a few things that this directorship is leading to. But it seems like the woman is very, I don't know, very good in the mechanics of her job. So I guess he's just going to have to keep an eye on her. Manage the managers, as they say. So that's about all I have to say today. And if by some reason, which I doubt very much, you're somebody that has never seen my videos, and because I don't think YouTube is going to steer my videos to anybody besides my own subscribers, but in case they do, don't be afraid to press that subscribe button. I don't even know how many I put out. I don't put out videos regularly, sometimes once every day, and sometimes once a week. I got a kind of rough schedule. Today some doors are going into my apartment, so I'm gonna have to be there. I gotta kind of hurry up and get back. Doors will be going in for 2 days, so then I can go to the bathroom in privacy, as other people can too. So everybody, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you on the next one. And until that time, hope everything's going good for you, and keep your fingers crossed that this thing is going to end with Ukraine and the sanctions and the terrible crap that's going on in Western countries. And like Gonzalo Lira said, and so many others, get out, and you need to come to Belarus and Russia. And so I'll see you when you get here. Bye-bye.